It does not look like at all. In fact, what we are picking up from the government is that though there are different views and there is a churning within the Delhi government also about the need for relaxation in certain areas, but the Chief Minister is completely convinced that an opening up at this point is only going to heighten Delhi's risk at a very vulnerable stage when each day Delhi reports more and more cases, and also more than 4 weeks after the lockdown has been announced. Now, yesterday, Delhi Chief Minister, Delhi Health Minister and the Union Cabinet Secretary took 3 separate meetings on Delhi, essentially to study the status of COVID-19 in the capital, categorization of districts, containment strategies and the way forward. Now, following that, certain important orders also have been issued. Remember, 2 additional private hospitals have been enlisted as the COVID-19 designated hospitals. The government has also issued a detailed protocol for home quarantine facilities. Now, this also points to the fact that there is a rising number of cases and there is a need for more medical facilities to be available to the people over here. Now, Delhi is also very different from the other states that we are talking about. Remember, it is the capital of the country, it is a union territory, it is a highly contiguous area where districts are not very geographically separated from each other. So if somebody is really thinking that they can classify certain areas within the containment zones as the red zones, right, and leave the rest of the district free for movement, that is not going to work out. Southeast district of Delhi has reported the highest number of containment zones, and as of now it does not look feasible for Delhi to go for any relaxations for now. So we are looking at a continuation of the lockdown modalities here in Delhi for at least 2 more weeks post the 3rd of May, but we will have to wait for the Chief Minister to make an announcement. Remember, he has always said that he is going to wait for the central government's cue on that, and in a sense it has come yesterday with the central government listing all of Delhi's 11 districts as hotspot areas.
Absolutely, Rupesh. Stay on with us. Let's switch focus now to Uttar Pradesh, where Pranshu joins us. Pranshu, unlike Delhi, which is a small state, you can have a blanket, restrictions to remain in the state. But in Uttar Pradesh, things are very different. It's a large state. There's some areas which are green zones. There are some areas which are red zones. What is the Uttar Pradesh government's plan?
See, UP government has already made it clear a few days back. In fact, we had reported on it that post 3rd May, they are looking into a scenario where you will be actually allowed certain activities depending upon in which zone you are. So people who are in red zone, for them it is going to be difficult. Approximately 19 districts or 20 such districts will fall in this category. Now, an important thing is that major industrial centers like Kanpur, you have the Noida, Ghaziabad, NCR region, all those districts are going to be in red zone because they have been reporting 10 or more than 10 cases. So all those districts which have at the moment 10 or more than 10 cases, they are clearly going to be in red zone. But having said that, there is still a consideration going on within the government that as far as major industrial towns like the Noida region is concerned, how you could actually go ahead allowing certain industrial activities despite the fact that it is red zone. So the possibility is that in some pockets of Noida NCR, major industrial or the key industrial units might be allowed to operate under given guidelines, but the public life or the common life is clearly not going to be, given a breathing space or more relief. Then orange and green zone, yes, UP has around 15 such districts which have not reported a case so far, all during the period of lockdown. So they are clearly in green zone where industrial activities would be allowed. I mean, they have already resumed and would be allowed more. So industrial activities gradually have been, being allowed since since April 20th. As of now, more than 8,000 industrial units are already operational. We have just got pictures of how construction activities on Purvanchal Expressway has started. So the only fact is that post 3rd of May, the lockdown is likely to continue, but there would be more clearly graded plan as far as various zones are concerned. So UP is going to have around 19 red zone districts, more than 30 orange zone districts, and around 15 to 20. That would be the figure, which will be the green zone districts, which have not reported any case so far.
All right, Pranshu, thank you for breaking down the details in Uttar Pradesh for us. Bringing in Purnima, who joins us from Chennai. Purnima, Tamil Nadu now has the 3rd highest number of red zones in the country after only Uttar Pradesh and Maharashtra. At the same time, there are a number of orange zones as well.
Well, if you look at Tamil Nadu, there's only one green zone, which is Krishnagiri district. Otherwise, there are 10 orange zones and the remaining are red zones. Clearly, a lot of districts come under the red zone, including municipalities like Chennai, Madurai, Coimbatore, Tirupur. These are the four cities that are seeing a consistent spike in the number of corona positive cases, especially Chennai, because yesterday alone Chennai recorded more than 130 cases. Over the last 3 days, Chennai has recorded at least more than 90 plus cases, which is the concern of the state government. The state government has confirmed to us that Chennai will be seeing an extension even beyond the 3rd of May. Because of the narrow lanes in few places, that every person staying in those slum areas or in those narrow lanes are contact if there are primary cases there. And also the population of Chennai is what is making it difficult for them to contain the spread of virus. So Chennai, of course, remains the number one hotspot. Apart from that, there are other cities as well that come under the red zone in Tamil Nadu. A majority of them come under the red zone. Only 10 orange zones and 1 green zone. So of the 38, except for 11, the remaining districts come under the red zone, which is a concern of the state government, which is why the relaxation of the lockdown will be seen only in the orange zone and to an extent in areas which come closer towards seeing no cases over the last 10 days. But clearly, the government will be holding a cabinet meeting on the 2nd of May to decide whether the extension of lockdown will happen in these orange zones. But for red zones, they say that extension is likely impossible for now.
Right, stay on with us, Poonam. I want to go across to Sneha once again before I go across to the other reporters. Sneha, you did mention that the number of days for a zone to change has reduced from earlier 28 to 21 days. But considering that now the centre has put out this list of various zones, are we now expecting a daily or a weekly review of the various districts and what zone they will be classified under?
Yes, it's a weekly review that happens, and as per this letter, it's mentioned that there's going to be a weekly review. In fact, the Union Health Secretary in this letter has also spoken about the fact that some states have raised concerns, and I'm going to read from that letter. She says that that some states have raised issues on inclusion of certain districts in the red zone. I would like to highlight that this is a dynamic list. The list is going to be revised on a weekly basis or earlier, remember it's important, and communicated to states a further follow-up action in consonance with the directions issued by ministry. But remember, the other point here, given the fact that health is a state subject, but this is an unprecedented situation that we're really facing in the country, she writes in this letter that states have to really stick to what the health ministry essentially is saying. States may not relax the zonal classification of districts classified as red, orange as communicated by the ministry. So there should not be any relaxation. Some states have obviously raised questions that maybe a particular district is not supposed to be falling into the red zone, but maybe it is time for them to transition that into the orange zone. But remember, this is an evolving situation. Right. This is a changing situation. And that's what she's talking about in this letter, that this is going to be reviewed on a daily basis. But do stick to what has been said, because this is a strategy that has been devised, keeping 3rd of May, in mind. Really, I mean, can we have the entire country in a lockdown mode? I think the thought within the government really is, and it's evident from this letter, as per the plan, that no, green zones that have not reported cases in the last 28 days can be opened up, and this sort of a classification. In fact, I find it really important that she did make a point at the very outset in this letter, which struck to me when I first accessed this letter through a source. Also, let me tell you that this has not been released by the center. This is something that we have accessed. This is something that she's saying that in terms of the kind of districts, the breakup that we've looked at, the word that she uses is critical intervention. One size does not fit all. I think that really is the strategy, and that should be the way forward. I spoke to a source within the government yesterday, and the source did say that, now it's time for us to look beyond